Alright, this thing on? Good. Alright, man, look. Check this out. Stop blaming the fucking referees for the Lions losing the goddamn game. I can give you a bunch of reasons why the Lions lost against the Dallas Cowgirls. Or the Dallas Vaginas. You know what I'm saying? Basically, number one, when we had a 14-0 lead, Matthew Stafford kept getting the ball batted out of his hand due to the fact that he was unable to see down the field. And then he was throwing the ball way too low. If he would have threw it a little bit more higher, maybe a 0.5 diameter up, then he would have been able to get off some passes. That was one of the reasons why. And missed opportunities was number two. We've had so many missed opportunities. And, you know, the quarterback's the leader of the team. No matter if the running back fumbled, if the wide receiver dropped the pass, the quarterback is still going to have to shoulder the blame on this. Because if we would have had Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, any of those cats, we would have definitely won this game. We would have blew out the Cowboys at home because we had all of the numbers for us. The Cowboys, all four of their losses came on the road this season. Number two, they're undefeated on the road, which means them going into Lambeau Field, I hope that they destroy the Packers. But other than that, you know, the Lions missed opportunities. Sure, the referees was calling some bad calls for both teams, not just Detroit. Just because I'm from the D and somewhat a Lions fan does not mean that the referee wasn't calling bad calls for both teams all game long. I seen bad calls all game long. And it looked like to me that the referees were calling more bad calls against us than America's joke. I mean, they played a very good game. But as I've been saying, you can't score 20 points against the Cowboys and expect to win. That's a team that could put up video game numbers at any point of the goddamn game. Dallas Cowboys are a good team, and they were way better than what they were projected to be. But as for Detroit Lions, they are who we thought they were. Matthew Stafford stunk it up again when crunch time happens in the playoffs. In the season, Matthew Stafford was able to get away with murder. I don't know how he was putting together those victories, but he won a lot of games. He won 40% of his comebacks for his whole career. Matthew Stafford showed that he was a top 10 quarterback this year. Barely. Shit, if Drew Brees wouldn't have played so horrible, Cam Newton hadn't been more consistent, Colin Kaepernick would have had a better defense, better help on the defensive side of the ball, we wouldn't even be talking about Matthew Stafford. But since Stafford's our best quarterback since Bobby Lane, you know, we look at him as a savior. But at the same time, I never thought of this guy more than a game-managing, average quarterback with a decent arm with no accuracy. Matthew Stafford has been good enough, but we need more than good enough. We need great, or somebody that could eventually be great one day, because we have all the pieces. We have the wide receivers. We have the running backs. We have the defense. We just need one. We're one cornerback short of a hell of of the best defense in the whole wide world, which we were up until the end of the season, thanks to Chicago lighting our asses up. But that's none of my business. Anyway, Matthew Stafford, in his 6 years, has made 2 playoff appearances in 6 years, whereas quarterbacks before him have made 0 since the retirement of Barry Sanders. I mean, we haven't made playoffs since 1990. I mean, since 2011, but before that, it was 1998. So Stafford is a good quarterback, and he would be a serviceable quarterback to a team in dire need of a playoff berth. and to save a coach's job. That's why I think that the Detroit Lions should trade Matthew Stafford for the Rams' overall top 5 pick. And we should trade our 3rd round pick as well in the Stafford deal. Because I think it would be serviceable for the Rams and serviceable for us to find a quarterback to develop. Also, we should go out and sign a veteran quarterback to start if the rookie needs development. Because there are some NFL-ready quarterbacks playing in these bowl games. Detroit has dropped the ball too many times. Jim Caldwell was a good pickup. Golden Tate was a good pickup for us. But I think we got the wrong offensive coordinator. I also blame the offensive coordinator for not having players in the right place. Because Eric Ebron cannot block. Cannot block. He should be a number 2 receiver. You got 265, 250 guys going up the field. Golden Tate's going to pop open on a 5-yard out and gain 25 yards every play. And then you can take a gamble with Calvin and Ebron because they both have that freakish athlete look to where, you know, it is what it is. Now, back to the Cowboys and Lions game. There was also times in the game where we had shut down the Cowboys offense to where we could have put up some points. We could have put up at least 3 or 7 or even 6. If we would have had converted on the Cowboys, you know, missed opportunities, we would have blown them out of the fucking water. We had every reason to win that game. And then the fact that we also, our corners kind of messed it up for us as well. Our cornerbacks, Dom Carey especially, like he fucked up. This was a big opportunity for him to create himself a roster spot for next year. But I don't think with the mishaps, I don't think that was possible. Because Dom Carey gave up a good touchdown in the end zone to Terrence Williams. And then also, he was checking Terrence Williams on the touchdown play that he broke off. And then DeAndre Levy, I blame also over the referees. I blame DeAndre Levy for missing the tackle on Dez Bryant. Number 1, you're a big-ass linebacker. You've been tackling niggas all year. You've been roofing motherfuckers since Stephen Tulloch, dumbass, did that stupid-ass discount double-check dance and tore his fucking ACL with his dumb ass. But that's none of my business. I'm saying, DeAndre Levy is the captain of the defense. He's supposed to know when he's on a fucking wide receiver. Not to mention the second best wide receiver in the whole fucking league this year in Dez Bryant. I'd say maybe 3rd to Antonio Brown, but a top 3 wide receiver nonetheless. This dude is capable of burning everybody on the field and cooking everybody. And you had a linebacker on this nigga. As the captain of the defense, he should have tweaked the play. Because he's like, oh shit, I'm on Dez Bryant. Fuck that, put a corner on him. You're the captain. DeAndre Levy dropped the ball also on the goal line play on the 4th and goal where we could have stopped them and ended the game. This dude let DeMarco, he was supposed to flush out the A-gap in the goal line stands. But instead, DeMarco Murray faked his ass out and he drifted off to the left, to the end zone. So the referees, I quote unquote, are not the reason, and definitely not the number 1 reason why we lost. Calls, there are bad calls made. There's some good calls being made. The referees missed a lot of calls on both ends, more on the Lions end. I get that. I feel you. I was on Twitter bitching along with the rest of you. But for the overall aspect of the game, stop bitching and crying. Stop crying. We lost that game as a team. We dropped the ball multiple times, multiple opportunities to where we could have won that game, but we didn't. Stafford did not step up in the clutch like he did in the season because he had nothing to play for. Stafford is just a better version of Andy Dalton. Someone who is a seasoned quarterback, you know what I'm saying? Somebody that's good in the season, but in the playoffs, you don't see them, you don't hear from them, and or they don't show up when the time comes to show up. Because Stafford had the offensive weapons this year. There was no reason why Matthew Stafford couldn't have gone out there and won a playoff game. There was no reason. There was no entire reason why Matthew Stafford should have went home with a big-ass L, like he always does. I'm not saying Matthew Stafford is poor. I'm saying Matthew Stafford's a good quarterback for a team that's struggling and that needs a quarterback. He is not a championship-level quarterback. He has never been. He's always been average to below average. I'm not hating on the guy. I just know what he is, and I know how he plays. Like, he's a game manager with a cannon. That's it. But he has no accuracy of the elite quarterbacks. He's not top 10 overall. He's barely top 10 this year because, you know, some of the great quarterbacks this year have regressed. Now, I'm going to take this opportunity to say RIP to Stuart Scott. He was a legend. He was someone who I grew up idolizing as a kid. I used to love his quotes. He bought the swagger. He bought the hood. He bought that urban flow to ESPN. Without him, we wouldn't be saying things like booyah or, you know what I'm saying, cooler than the other side of the pillow. Everybody was influenced by him. But other than that, this is the end of my segment. I hope you guys enjoy it. And if you want to debate, I'm your guy. Bring it. I will debate your ass down.